All right. Hello, everybody. Greetings. Am I up? Can you see me? I'm still trying to figure out whether I'm on there. Oh, there I am. All right, boys and girls. Hello, everybody. It's Rabun County Rag. I'm still in the old hotel room. Little tardy getting set up, so y'all bear with me another minute or two while I get things situated. You may hear some noise in the background. I'm in a hotel room. Sounds like a couple ladies across the hall there is having some kind of dispute. I hope it don't erupt into gunfire. But anyway, good evening, friends and kin. Welcome back to the Rabun County Rag. Now, whether I'm here in the county or miles away on the road like I am tonight, my heart is always rooted in those mountains. Because home is not just where you hang your hat, it's where the stories and the people never leave you. Before we get started, I'd like to let me remind us of who we are. Y'all excuse me a minute. Shoot, I can't read I've got notes here, and I got notes here, and I gotta go back and look at what notes I opened. Hang on a minute, boys and girls. Y'all just check in with me. Tell me where you're from. Tell me where you're at. Tell me what's going on. I want to hear from you. Leave me a message while I get my notes up. Rabun County Rag. And I put in, this is 11 September. All right. And here we go. Oh, you devil. That's not what I wanted to see. There we go. All right. Let me get this thing enlarged so I can read it. I got another computer screen, so at least I can have, maybe it sounds like I'm a little more organized, but we'll see. All right. And some of this information, y'all let me know how accurate this information is. I've tried to read the newspaper and I'm trying to put this together, but man, they got me working. It's I'm quite busy. And anyway, whether I'm there in the county or on the road, my heart is always rooted right there in Rabun County. Cause home is not where you hang your hat. It's where the stories and the people never leave you. Before we begin, let me remind us of who we are. We're a community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, families, and environment. We use this platform to exchange ideas, resources, and information. That's the heartbeat of this show, and that's why we gather here each Thursday night at 6 o'clock, 1800 for you military type. Tonight we're talking about shifting seasons and how we can keep these hills and hollers strong for generations to come. I always like to cover the outdoor outlook. Let's see, today is the 11th, Friday the 13th, Saturday, 13 September, opening day of archery. It runs through January 11th. Firearm season begins on October 18th after the Youth and Primitive Weapons Week. And that runs through the 11th of January as well. Scout the clear cuts and muscadine patches now. Deer are setting their late summer patterns. Also, looks like dove season started last on the 6th anyway of September. That's one of Georgia's favorite traditions. Check fields near water and grain stubble. Sunrise shoots are often the best. If you're a bear hunter, we got bear season coming up. Well, that actually starts Saturday as well, bear season. Let me know. I'd like to hear from some of you bear hunters out there. I'd like to hear who amongst you like to hunt the bear. We've got several bear in our little neck of the woods there. And if you're interested in bear, let me know. Let's send me a message. Send me a whatever they call these things. Send me something on this YouTube platform, and we'll see what if we can make an arrangement for you to have to get with another party on that. But you know, only thing I require is that if you take the bear, it's not for trophy only. That it's fully utilized, food, fat, all that stuff. Anyway, if you're interested, let me know. All right. Also, don't forget the reporting requirements on a bear hunt. Small game and trapping. Squirrel season opened on August the 15th. Let me look back through here. Squirrel season opened August 15th and runs through February 28th. Daily limit is 12. If you want some squirrel, let me know about that too. I got a bunch of them gray devils running around in the treetops around my place. Trapping season for bobcat, fox, mink, otter, and weasel runs from December 1st through February 28th, if you're hunting on public lands. There is no closed season for beaver, coyote, raccoon, or possum on private lands. But remember, traps must be tagged, inspected daily, and humane dispatch is the law. Man, I'm around the house, and then I take some work out of town to help out some guys that I really admire and appreciate, and dadgummit, I get away from there, and all of a sudden my mind, around the house I might go fishing occasionally, but when I'm away from the house, it seems like my mind's turning to it every single day that I'm out of town. Now, I'm up here on the Green River. I've inquired about some trout fishing, and I'll be coming into the house this week, and I may, I don't know, pay for out-of-state license. I might bring some tackle back with me and give it a go. I'll be here through next weekend. It's a 2-day, but I'm going home because it's 4-day weekend. I'll leave tomorrow morning, which is Friday, and drive back on Monday. Maybe I'll find some time to go fishing while I'm there and check my license and all that. But Lake Burton, Lake Seed, Moccasin Creek State Park are all great places to fish. There's so many fishing waters in the county that a man my age anyway will never get them all fished. I won't have enough time. Of course, you know when to fish. Hit the waters between dawn and dusk for cooler water activity, and throw those top water lures early. Worms or jigs near shady cover. Take the kids and let them catch some of them bluegill that is famous over there at the Moccasin Creek State Park. Let them catch them on a bobber. They'll have a big time. Because the memory lasts longer than the stringer. And if you turn them back, make sure you use proper techniques. Make sure you use wet hands and all that good stuff. And myself, I keep my barbs. Yeah, excuse me. I've been up since 3:30 this morning. That's 3:30 Eastern time. It's 5:15 where I'm, or 5:10 where I'm at, and 6:10 back home. Anyway, excuse the yawning. Anyway, get those kids out and do some fishing. We got some upcoming. I've got my thing a little out of date. Looks like the next thing I see coming up is the Highland Games. Let me cut some of this stuff out. The Highland Games. Clayton Crawl is on the 21st. I believe that's next weekend. Sounds like a good time. I won't be there. Dadgummit. North Georgia Highland Games, that's September 30th. I've seen that old boy on the YouTube channel, local guy there, going around and doing TikToks of him picking up them big old rocks and throwing them or lifting them and all that. So that sounds like that'd be a hoot to go check out them boys wearing them skirts doing that Highland Game business. Anyway, give me a comment. Let me know you're out there watching. Key in on it. Maybe somebody will pop in and leave me a message. Am I on the right channel? Right channel. Let me look. Yeah, Rabun County. Yeah, I've been live streaming on different channels and everything else with this. I'm still trying to figure out this YouTube live business, and it's been 2 or 3 months me doing it, and I still goof it up. I'm an expert at goof up, I reckon. But anyway, September 30. Kilts, heavy stones, fiddles, and fun. Now, I like some good fiddle music. I might have to go check that out just for the fiddle music. Anyway, y'all give me a comment and let me know you're out there. And then October the 5th, and I'm pretty sure I'll be in town October 5th. Maybe they won't ask me to go do something else. It's hard to turn these guys down. I worked for them full time a few years back, and they sure treated me pretty good. And they need the help. They're shorthanded in the safety department, and I told them I'd pitch in and help them out on a power plant right now, Paradise, Kentucky. Y'all look it up. Got a asbestos subcontractors. Got about 49 guys on the job, and these guys already know what they're doing. They're in containment. I just walk around and check the containment. Got some scaffold monkeys on site, and it's 6 or 7 of those hillbillies. I love them. They're great guys. They're installing some scaffold. Oh, and there's one lady installing that scaffolding too. They're great guys. They're all great guys, man. So it's a good team to work for. We can get together on a daily basis, first thing in the morning, talk about what we're doing, and enthusiasm is pretty good. I've been on jobs where there just lacked a bunch of enthusiasm, but I can't say that about this particular project. I'm proud to be with them, and the training efforts from the guy I'm covering for while he goes to manage another job, kudos to him and kudos to the management team here on this job site, doing terrific leaders, and they've got a good team that they're leading through the process of getting this project done. Anyway, back on the Foxfire Mountaineer Festival. That's on October 5th, and it says here this in downtown Clayton, it'll be filled with Appalachian tradition, crafts, and music. I really think I'm going to go try and check that out. Send me a message if you're going to go. I'd like to know. Anyway, let's rock along here. I think we talked about this last week, but I'd like to talk about it again. Rabun County, the Highway 441 from Trails to Tomorrow. Before Highway 441 was asphalt and stripes, it was Cherokee Trading Pass connecting villages throughout the Dividings, which is the area in Clayton used to be called, and beyond. In the early 1800s, became a toll road. Could you imagine them trying to put in a toll road today? Anyway, and it gave settlers and tradings a way across Rabun's rugged terrain. And that 441 is probably the best best way across Rabun County going north and south. Them other roads going east and west, say, as crooked as a snake. But it became a toll road, giving settlers and traders a way across Rabun's rugged terrain. By the 20th century, now I remember back in the, I want to say the late 70s up into I'm not sure that 4-lane was paved. You got off there in Cornelia and had to come up 197 and back around the backside of the lake and then on into Clayton at that time through the Tiger maybe. Back way no, it wasn't through Tiger. It was at 197. Yeah, that's across the creek. It was, boy, I loved it back then. Boy, it was quiet and there wasn't no houses on the lake. It was serenity. But by the 20th century, the 20th century was a Rabun's lifeline. It was carrying farm goods, school buses, and Sunday drivers. It shaped the county's economy, culture, and identity. And now it's changing again. I heard for years when I first moved up there, when they gonna widen the road? When they gonna widen the road? And so now they started widening the road, and then everything is going, when they gonna be finished widening the road? When they gonna be finished widening the road? Well, boys and girls, it's probably gonna be a year or two before they get that done. And gonna 4-lane it clean through the middle of Dillard. It's already hard enough to get in and out of the shops there in Dillard. With it being a 2-lane, I don't anticipate them putting a bypass so you can get off and enjoy a shopping experience in Dillard. I'm afraid that's going to be detrimental to the small businesses there in Dillard. But them travelers going on up into Cherokee, on up into Dollywood and Gatlinburg and all that, they're going to get up there a lot quicker and probably not have to stop as much because they'll be making better time and not have to pee. We'll see. I hope all these small businesses in Dillard still get by in a fine fashion. I really hope so. I'd hate to see it. I've seen it all over the country. I've driven trucks and I've been all over the Southeast. I've driven trucks all over the country, and I see these small towns perish because of these big highways. And, the communities think it's going to be an economic boom for them. Well, it is an economic boom to some extent, but only to certain property owners. The rest of it is just that drives the cost up of living around the area because, politicians want to capture those tourist dollars, and in order to do that, and the businesses jack their price up because it's convenient, and we as citizenry, the smaller business in the outskirts of the town decline, and we're stuck with paying the tourist prices. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. I don't want to get into making no enemies out of it. I just like the peace and quiet. I don't know. But the widening projects and heavier traffic promise more visitors, more commerce, and more outside influence, which could be another problem. You start opening the floodgates and people come up here and they may not have the same cultural aspirations that we have. You got to consider where they're coming from. Might be coming from inside the ring down there in Atlanta, inside 285, and heaven forbids we know what kind of culture that is down there. We've got good schools and they promote our schools, and we have people coming up here just to enter into the high schools because we have such a fine athletic program. But I have certain fears that it's going to bring in an unsavory culture. I hate to be that way, but I've seen it happen before. It's not that I'm making this up. It's a personal observation that's made over many decades of traveling the country. So that causes me concern, but it's up to the citizenry in the county to ensure that we maintain our cultural heritage. If they want to have some other culture than peaceful and friendly and caring and loving and sharing with deep moral and religious beliefs, then they're welcome. But if they want to come tagging along and bring some of that culture that believes in unlawfulness and crime and all that, boys and girls, men and women, Rabun County, we need to guard against that with all that we have, or it'll turn into just another place that is unsavory. So let's ensure as 441 grows, it carries Rabun's values forward, not just out of town speed. Rabun's County wild places aren't just scenery. They're stewardship ground, protecting wildlife, which means respecting seasons, supporting habitat, and fighting fragmentation. Think corridors for deer and bear, healthy streams for trout, and balance for tomorrow. That's how we guard our heritage. Think about that. And now closer in Clayton, there's a new effort worth knowing. And I read this in the paper today, and I thought it was worth sharing. Even if nobody watches this video, this live stream right now, at least I'm making an effort, okay? I need to make an effort to get more people involved. I'd like for this to be if somebody watches this, help me figure this thing out, how to outreach to people. If I'm not the proper personality for this, help me find the proper personality, and I'll turn this thing over. I want it to be a benefit to our community and our culture. That's my goal. But anyway, the North Georgia Land Trust, and this is from the Clayton County paper, or the Clayton Tribune. This nonprofit has been founded to help us face the questions of how to balance growth with preservation. Their mission is to preserve landscapes, farms, mountain vistas, and waterways that give North Georgia its character, ensuring future generations enjoy the same resources and beauty we do today. The Land Trust offers voluntary, community-driven conservation agreements with landowners that protect land forever from overdevelopment, while still allowing thoughtful, sustainable growth. It means more green space, protected wildlife habitat, and cleaner water resources for North Georgia. And here's their board of trustees, and I think I'm going to try and get in touch with this group sure enough and insert myself in here with these folks and work toward that. Founder and CEO is Brent Hoffman, along with Phil Bonelli, Wes Robinson, Dixie Truelove, John Vanderman, and R.K. Whitehead. They're inviting property owners, concerned citizens, donors, and leaders to get involved. As they say, their work is local, voluntary, and forever forever is a long time. We've covered the, boy, I'm blowing through this thing. I better slow down. I'm going to start ad-libbing some stuff. Somebody give me a comment. Help me out. Somebody get on this thing and help me out. Give me something to talk about. Cultural Heritage Spotlight, and I know we've talked about Raven Gap Nachuchi School. It was founded in 1903 by Andrew Jackson Ritchie. This school still stands as a symbol of service and education in the mountains. It reminds us that investment in knowledge is important as the land we walk on. Uh, yeah, I can't agree with that more. You know, we have such a wonderful place that we live in, and we really need to train our young people. I think it should be a course. I took a course called outdoor education, probably my junior and senior year in high school. That's why I live in Rabun County now, is because the men that led that knew how wild and wonderful this area was. And, you know, we would camp and fish all up Moccasin Creek. I remember before the footbridge was there, and it was a risky endeavor crossing that darn Moccasin Creek to get to Hemlock Falls. That was dangerous. I pulled a girl out one time. We lost her foot and started slipping down. You know, it gets kind of nasty right there at that footbridge, and people have been crossing there forever and ever. And little gal slipped, and boy, I'm glad I was able to reach down and grab her, because it was a scary situation. That she was a little old high school girl. She probably didn't weigh 100 pounds. She'd have been washed way on down the creek. Could have broke a leg and landed in a what do you call those things? A hydraulic behind the rock, and pulled her under. You just never know about that kind of stuff. But anyway, we live in a wonderful part of the country, and I don't understand why these notes ain't lining up. Let me go to another place here, y'all. Bear with me. And I'm going to go to here. And I'm going to go to here. Y'all bear with me. I got some more stuff to talk about. I've been busy today. Me and Pluriphoria, boy, we've been rocking and rolling. See if I can get this to plug in right. Yeah. Goofed me up. All right, I'm back in normal here. So anyway, it got that in there, but it didn't make any changes in some of the other stuff. Yeah. I don't know what happened to some of that. North Georgia land grant. Yeah. We talked about. I can't wait for that Highland stuff. Oh, you know what I got this week, boys and girls? It was last week, and I might have told you about it. Boy, last week I was running late. I didn't leave the job site till 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock local time, 6 o'clock Eastern time. I didn't get started with the live stream till way after 6 o'clock, and I was in a rush, and it was probably, I'm always constantly working on the quality, but it was probably subpar to what I normally provide last week. But the week before that, man, went to visit the sister in Clarksville, Tennessee, and they raise them old red pole cattle. And I got there on Friday afternoon, and my brother-in-law came in on Friday night and immediately had me in the field helping him put up some electric fence, because the water levels were done, and he's afraid his cattle was going to cross a little creek there and get into the neighbor's corn. And my sister, and then I did it again on Monday before I came back, because we were back on work on Wednesday. No, it was the Labor Day holiday. It was on Tuesday. And my sister warned me both days to put on some bug spray. I was like, I mean, you know, I'm in the woods all the time. They don't ever bother me. Well, Scotty boy, this was a darn pasture, a grass pasture. And boy, them old chigger bugs, we was tracking down some beaver dams and all kinds of stuff. And up home, that's never really ever bothered me, you know, around my place. It never gets as hot as it does here, and the environment's different. Boy, them old chigger bugs got all over me. I bet I got about 30 or 40 of them devils all over me. They're just now starting to heal up. Yeah, let's see if you can see them. Yeah, a couple here. Yeah, you can see them. In the arms, one right there, one right there. But wherever the tight-fitting clothes is, the unmentionable area where the elastic band is, there's some under the armpit there. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Yeah, man. On the legs. Woo! Boy, they got me on the legs big time. Anyway, that's not really the point. Uh, Next time she won't have to tell me where no darn bug spray. I guarantee you that. I'll do that voluntarily. Won't even have to, I'll be asking, hey, where's your bug spray at? But anyway, you know, I've been talking about wanting a disc from a disc harrow so I can make me what my Hispanic brothers and sister call a discata. And my nephew came walking in with a 24-inch, I think it's 24-inch size, and asked me if that would do. And I hugged him on the neck. Man, that was the best gift. So I finally found it. You know, since I started this live stream, I was looking for mulch, hay mulch, and I was looking for that disc, and now I've got them. I've got to fill in the hole, you know, weld up that hole with a piece of scrap and grind it down and put some handles on it and put it on a fire and season it. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. I really am looking forward to that. I can't wait, really. I've got an old fire pit at the house. I could build a fire in that thing and throw some peppers and onions and tomatoes in there and some beef skirt. I think I got some beef skirt in the old refrigerated chicken breast, anything I want. And then fire up them tortillas, boy, and we'll have us an authentic Mexican meal or Hispanic meal. Or anyway, I like that stuff, and I'm gonna do it. The old it's Rute Nueve, and these guys speak only Spanish. And so I have to use the Google Translate, the YouTube translator. And sometimes I'm like, well, what are they saying? But I could follow along with it just in Spanish, and it helps me learn a little Spanish. And I had some conversations with the guys on the job site, and I showed it to them. I tell them I'm going to make me a discata, and they go, oh, yeah, good. You like beans? And they start asking me about recipes to make in it. I said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm getting to bond with some different people over cooking. That's a wonderful thing to bond with people about or over is cooking. It's a wonderful experience. But anyway, I did find that, and I can't think of anything. Did I tell you about the worms in the basement? Now, I bought some worms early in the year. Shoot, man, it was probably February. And I didn't use them all, so I took some topsoil, some dirt, and put it in a coffee can and threw some vegetation in there and watered them regularly. And I checked on them, I guess, before I left to come or to go to the Spartanburg probably a month or so ago. And there was a healthy batch of worms in there. Now, if y'all don't like paying for worms and don't want to dig them up, put them in a coffee can. Put some holes in the top so it breathes, and then just on occasion, throw in any kind of cellulose in there. You can use newspapers, cardboard, any kind of vegetative matter. And then people say, ooh, that stinks. No, it don't. If you don't put any kind of meat scraps or bones or anything like that, just put in vegetable scraps and kind of lift it up and shove it in the dirt. And then worms will eat it up and get fat. And then they start making more worms. And before you know it, you got a big old wad of worms in a coffee can. And a readily available bait. Now, it might stink if you forget to feed them and water them. I've been known to do that a time or two. But anyway, I think that was an interesting story. Oh, here we come into fall. Now we're moving into my time of fishing season. You know, the tourists are gone, and it's before the leaf peepers come rolling through, but the campgrounds stay relatively empty from now, and the rivers stay relatively empty now through mid to late April. So this is really my fishing season, and I'm looking forward to getting out there. I've got a bunch of flies tied. Any of y'all tie flies? I need to, when I get back to the house, I might set up another camera in the studio there and try and, I don't know, not necessarily a tutorial, but just something to entertain while I'm sitting there talking to you. Maybe tie some woolly boogers or some copper johns or some hair ear nymphs and sit there at the vise and tie those while I'm talking to you and give you another visual experience. If you pass through on this thing and you hear me talking about that, let me know if you think that's a good idea. Oh, me. And me and Pluriforia got together today and wrote up these notes, and I probably didn't do a good job helping her. She does most of the work, and then I'll peruse it and make sure, and then I'll add some comments, and then she'll change it. And darn if I don't forget to make sure that that everything I want to talk about is in there. And so if listen, I'm doing them. I'm a one-man band here, me and Pluriforia. I sure would welcome any questions, comments. If any of y'all would like to participate in the show, we could set up a Zoom call and broadcast live. If you've got a story to tell, I can set up a space in the studio at home. I still want to get involved with the Heritage Center and offer up some video services, record some oral history from some of the people that have been around a long time. They're running out in a hurry. Some of those are in their 80s and 90s and 70s. I'd like to hear about their family history here in Rabun County and record that for posterity and give them a copy of it so they can hand that down to their grandchildren and post it on the YouTube site. If the Heritage Foundation, Rabun County Heritage, wants to start a YouTube site, we could even the Foxfire. I don't know if Foxfire has a YouTube or not, but I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and I really need to get involved with that. But y'all help me. Y'all make me some introductions. If you know somebody who's in those organizations, let's get together. Set them up a meeting. People ask me, why am I trying to develop money out of this? No, I'm not. I'm just trying to be a part of the community and offer up a service so that we can learn from one another and improve our bonds with one another, because over the years, with social media and cable TV and all that, we're losing that to get togetherness. I would like to mention Bill Barker, pastor at Wolford Baptist Church. He sent me a message. I made a contribution and paid my tithes, and I just decided to pay my tithes to his church. And he sent me a thank you note and invited me to church, and I appreciate him doing that. I'm not trying to cast shade, but that's one thing that, when I was a young man involved in the church, we used to have visitation Sundays once a quarter, and we'd go visit people who hadn't been to the church in a while and check on their condition, check on how they were feeling, check on their home. If they needed some help, we could organize work days, but we're getting away from that. And it's a terrible thing. And it's my goal and dream to rebuild communities and utilize the thing that kind of broke it up. This social media platform, this YouTube channel, it's a free TV program as far as I'm concerned. we as the community, we can control what's on this thing, and we can control what's said on it, and we can promote our lifestyles and culture. And now we have to deal with the distractors because of free speech, but they come and go out of the woodwork like a bunch of, I don't know, termites or whatever. We don't got to pay them no attention because we'll outbuild our strength and our culture and community better and faster than they could try to tear it down. And you know how the criminal element is. They'll disappear into the woodwork, and they know, don't mess with those folks, man. They know who they keep an eye on their community. They'll know who we are. They'll communicate with the sheriff. They'll make sure that our type of behavior is not acceptable around their family and their children, their churches, and their community. And that's part of what I try to bring forth with this. And hopefully I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing it every Thursday night. Even when I'm out of town, I'll make every effort to be here. It may be abbreviated because of job demands, unless there's somebody else who wants to be a co-host who can fill in when I'm not available. I'm more than happy to let that. I have no financial interest in this channel. I just want it to be a growing, thriving community of like-minded people that care about our environment, common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, and families, where we can exchange ideas, resources, and information. Community outreach. We want to be a community where we take care of one another and get off that financial debt rat wheel, that merry-go-round that has been sold to us, where we got to buy, and then the feeling of something new, it quickly dies away, and then they've got you going to buy something else, and before you know it, you can't buy anything else because you're so deep in debt. And then the economy, because of all that, nobody's buying anything. It shrinks, and our income shrink, and it's a mess. We need to be self-reliant. We need to work on being self-reliant, and we cannot be self-reliant without the help of a community. Individuals, yeah, there are some people out there, homesteaders and people who are off grid, that they claim to be self-reliant, but they still have to rely on friends and neighbors from time to time to lend them hands, whether it's building a fence or repairing a roof or anything like that, because as age creeps up on us, Lord knows it's creeping up on me pretty darn fast, it gets harder and harder for them to maintain. So that's another reason for us to get together. And I'm non-denominational, I don't care if you're Jehovah's Witness, Methodist, Presbyterian, Catholic, or Baptist. As long as you have a faith in Jesus Christ, I'm right there with you, brother. That's where we need to be. Anyway, I'm just ranting right now. I don't, like I said, I was running out of script, and I just decided to open up and start ranting and raving. Well, I'm not ranting and raving. I'm just ad-libbing all the way through, and I got about 15 more minutes. I've been trying to develop that gift of gab so I can keep right on rolling. It'd be helpful if somebody sent in a comment and let me know they was paying attention to anything that I was trying to do. It'd be really, I'd fall out of my chair if somebody commented right now. I've been doing this for, months. And I don't know that I've had a viewer come on here and look at it. And they might have passed through after the stream and give me a little bit of time. But if I were sitting here doing this live stream and somebody said, "Hey, Scott, man, how you doing? I appreciate the things you're saying. Yeah, I think we need to get together and we need to take care of our community." I'd fall right out of the frame. All y'all to look at is the background if that were to happen to me. Now, I'd like to talk about a little bit about the current events and some history. Now, we all know what happened 24 years ago in New York City. Those terrorists flew those airplanes into the Twin Towers there in New York City and caused the death, I think, of almost 4,000 people. And we need to take time today to remember those people from 9/11 and maintain our vigilance, because in my mind, things have not really improved since then. We've separated from each other as a people. And when I say a people, I'm talking about Americans, okay? I'm talking about the morality, the Christianity, and other religious aspects. As long as it's not a violent religion. And I think that we've actually been deteriorating even further. And if we don't have that salvation of coming together as a single people to promote our way of life and our land, that we're just going to crumble into another dark ages. And now people I associate with, I believe that they'll weather it and survive, but our society and culture may not. My biggest fear is a retraction into feudalism. We could talk about the fall of the Roman Empire and how that came about. And, it began with the devaluation of the currency. The denarius started out at 95% silver. And by the first century, or the turn of from BC to AD, it was down to 5% of purity in silver. It was just brass or copper with a silver wash on it. And it deteriorated. You couldn't pay armies. You couldn't pay. Merchants wouldn't take it. It had to go to barter and trade. Farmers didn't want to grow their food no more than they had to survive. Society crumbled around them and opened the door for barbarians. The enemies of the state could just take over. And I've watched our currency deteriorate and crumble. I've been around since '62. And I can vaguely remember the Nixon years where we devalued or debased our currency and took it off the gold standard. And silver in '64 we quit producing silver coinages in 1964. That was I think it was 90% silver in 1964, and they just quit using silver. So real money is not available anymore. It's a fiat currency that gets inflated. The Federal Reserve, the way I understand how it works is the government says, oh, we ain't got enough money, and the Federal Reserve will print it up and we owe it to them. The Federal Reserve is like a big bank. It is called Federal Reserve Bank, and they're the only ones who have the power to print money, and that is the only true source of inflation in a monetary system, is the government's power to print money. And on the other side of that, the government is the only one authorized to use force to take your money. So I have faith in the American system. But if we don't pay attention, we the people do not pay attention, these swamp rats in Washington D.C. And I'm not saying one party over the other, because they're all in it for personal gain, in my opinion, until they prove me otherwise. They make the deals with the pharmaceutical companies, the medical companies, the infrastructure companies, the bomb making companies, the plane making companies, they make all these deals, and then they do a little private trading on the side. They're trying to limit that now with the likes of Nancy Pelosi, the most successful trader, better than 99% of all the Wall Street tycoons. How do you reckon she did that? You reckon she's really that smart? You reckon her and her husband really that bright? I question that. But I do know they have access to what's coming up, and they write regulations that a bunch of darn lobbyists get in there with banking companies and pharmaceutical companies and tell them what they'd like to do, and they help them write legislation to get their way. I can't imagine it comes without a cost. Can you? Anywho, that's my personal thoughts. I may be a total idiot on that, but I know one thing for sure. We need to get together as citizens of our community, our county, our state, and take control, man. The state powers reign supreme under the Constitution. And I think the states need to get out of bed with that federal government. We went to war one time in this country called the Civil War. And now slavery was probably a component, but I think them folks in the North was getting awful mad at us folks in the South because we was dealing pretty freely with the French and the English with our cotton and tobacco and making money, and them money changers up in the North couldn't get their paws on it is the real reason why I think one of the reasons that we had that Civil War. And then now you look at the huge welfare recipients, the population that in certain parts of the country, boy, they're fighting to keep that money. They don't care if we're going broke as a nation. All they care about is a 72-inch TV they can get with a tax refund check, or what they can buy with their EBT or their subsidized housing. They're just walking around like zombies without any purpose or definition in their lives, collecting a check, and always unhappy. Always unhappy. Now, why are they always unhappy? Because it ain't ever enough. There's no satisfaction in things that you get without earning it. It's just trash to you. You got teenagers. They just got to have the iPhone. And I'm just not holding unless I have an iPhone. And they get sold that stuff. Anyway, I ramble on, probably meaningless bullshit. Excuse my word, this is supposed to be a family show. It's all bull caca. Toro caca, as I would say to the my Hispanic brothers and sisters when we get in discussions from time to time. Anyway, we got about 5 minutes left. So let's end this thing on a happy note. Now, I didn't mean all that other previous conversation to be a drag down. That's just food for thought, that how we need to think and why we need to be a community that is reliant on one another, but self-reliant in terms of not asking the government to help. I mean, the government has destroyed the churches. Before they had the income tax, FDR, it was only supposed to be 1%, and that was people who made over $100,000 a year, some stuff. And now look at it. Property taxes, county taxes, sales taxes, government taxes, Social Security taxes, Medicaid taxes. And then they just take it out of your paycheck, so you really never understand the percentage of it. But anyway, we need to start taking control of our own communities. And when we start taking control of our own communities, other communities can gather with us who are of like mind and start demanding that our states, our states start taking care of the people within it and eliminate some of the graft that washes back and forth between states. You know, the bigger states, they take from all the littler states and vice versa, and they're just swapping money, swashing it around like it's in a big bucket. Anyway, friends, the seasons shift, but our spirits don't. Scout your woods, protect the streams, teach your kids what matters. Show up for your county, attend those county commissioner meetings, your city council meetings, school board meetings, attend those. Show up for your county. Give your opinion, okay? Because if you don't, those who want your money sure enough will. Those who think they deserve something for no effort, they'll show up. Yes, sir. They ain't got nothing better to do. They ain't working. And remember why we gather here each week. Because we're a community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, families, and environment. Here we exchange ideas, resources, and information. I want to thank y'all. I know nobody's been on here on the live stream, but if you scroll by and you stop and listen to this, I want to thank you for joining me on the Rabun County Rag. Share your stories. Send me some photos so that I can share them on the live streams. Pass along your wisdom to your family. Pass it along here, the wisdom of what you've seen. Together we can keep Rabun County strong. Anyway, we're running down the clock here. Until next Thursday at 6 o'clock, keep your bows sharp, keep your creeks clean, and keep your roots deep in Rabun County. And I'll see you in the holler. And in closing, as always, have a grateful day. Have a grateful week. And we'll see you next time.